On 8 out of 10 cats, the Renaissance Man, Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen. The Renaissance Woman, Mel Gedroyd. And their captain, Dave Spikey. And facing them tonight, from Coronation Street, Deborah Stevenson. From California, IA, Scott Capurro. And their captain, Sean Locke. Now, warmly welcome your host, Jimmy Carr.
Welcome to 8 out of 10 Cats, a show about opinion polls, surveys and statistics. Did you know, for example, a staggering 315 entries in America's Wexford Dictionary are misspelled? What a bunch of wuckfits. 2% of British women describe themselves as sexy. Yeah, it's about right. 13% of men have spent a night in jail. Coincidentally, 13% of men have been made love to on a bunk bed to the sound of a harmonica. Let's get started. What are you talking about? That's the name of our first round. We've teamed up with a leading polling organisation and they've asked the British nation what they've been talking about this week. It's our panellists' job to guess the nation's top 5 most popular talking points. Dave, your team to go first. What do you think the nation have been talking about this week?
Is it the identity card bollocks scheme?
ID scheme bollocks, yes.
It's an immediate reaction originally to combat terrorism, and because that's going to work, innit, obviously. If it needs an ID card, it's going to wipe it out completely. Yeah. Suicide bomber leaving home, locking the front door. Don't know why he's locking it, to be honest with you. So, have I got everything? Semtex, got the detonator, right? Got the map, got the car keys. Oh, shit, the identity card. The way you get one is to go and prove your identity like that, and you take a passport or a birth certificate.
Yeah.
The two most regularly forged documents in the world.
Yeah. I think it must be something that's simple. Everyone should have a catchphrase. You know, it's just like, it's only me. Come in, Mr. Enfield. You know? Everyone has a little Tim Henman. Out. Yes, you're in. So, what would your catchphrase be?
I think I've almost sort of got one. I say well done you an awful lot. So catch myself going, well done you.
Yeah.
I don't quite know why.
Slightly patronising that, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Well done you. Off you pop. Yeah.
You've noticed that, Sean?
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
OK, should we have a look and see if ID cards are one of the top 5 most talked about things this week? Yes, they were. They were the most talked about things. Sean, over to you. What do you think the nation has been talking about this week?
Well, I think people are getting very excited about the Live 8 concerts in Hyde Park. I think people are getting very excited. If anyone's lucky enough to have tickets for it, don't go to the toilet when Dido's on, because there'll be massive queues. But the thing I didn't know was that there's those gigs going all over the world, but all the African artists are doing this special gig in Cornwall. I thought, there's a lot of African people in this country. I don't think one of them lives in frigging Cornwall. And I'd like to see the instructions they get. You get to Heathrow, come out of the airport, turn left, and just keep going for about 7 hours. Don't get stuck behind a caravan, you'll never make it. Bob Geldof said, he said, I'm not putting African artists on the bill in Hyde Park, because I think people will switch off. And I think it shows he's got a very low opinion of us. What does he think? Like, an African artist comes on, I go, oh, bollocks, it's an African, like that. What's ITV? World's maddest waiters on ITV. I'm not watching that.
It's really odd, though, how saving the world makes you look like hell, because he looks terrible. Doesn't he?
Yeah.
You think, you know, growing green grass and saving starving people would make you look pretty or better or something. But the more he saves the world, the more he looks like Satan.
The G8 protests start next week. And basically, G8 protests are like Christmas for anarchists, aren't they? That's when they get really, whoo-hey! Yeah, we chuck stuff at the police, hey! They get very excited about that. That's all going to start next week.
So is that different to Live 8, G8?
Yeah.
Shit, I've got tickets for that.
What do you think, Deborah? Are you going to go?
No, I'm not going to go. I will have it on if I'm allowed. Because
what do you mean if you're allowed?
Well, usually I'm not allowed to put anything that I want on. It's got to be Thomas the Tank Engine or... Oh.
Is your partner a bit slow?
It's 2.5.
Well, let's have a look and see if Live 8 is one of the most talked about things this week.
Yeah.
One of the highlights of the Live 8 concert is set to be Sting singing Every Breath You Take, a song originally written about how much he misses the notorious B.I.G. With such an impressive musical lineup, it is easy to lose sight of what the concert's really about: starving Africans. It is a serious problem. But then again, they don't get our winters. Dave, over to you. What else have people been talking about this week?
I was going to say, on a musical theme again, I think people probably were talking quite a lot about Glastonbury.
I want to know why everybody I know that lives in Glastonbury calls it Glastonbury, and everybody who doesn't live in Glastonbury who goes there calls it Glastonbury.
Because they're not as posh?
Perhaps. I'm beginning to think that might be the reason.
Don't some people call it Glastonbury?
What, you mean the staff?
Yeah, the staff. Yeah.
They're sweeping the fields.
Should we have a look and see whether Glastonbury is one of the most talked about
Please,
things?
let's... Oh, yes.
Yes, it was. Glastonbury was the second most talked about thing this week. Kate Moss almost got E. coli and dysentery from the disgusting toilets. That was before she left Pete Doherty's flat and went to the festival. Sean, over to you. What else have people been talking about?
There was a big thing in the papers, wasn't there, about the Diana, some new book about Diana's come out.
The woman who's written the book was Diana's astrologist, right?
No, I'm sorry, guys, she wasn't an astrologer, she was an energy healer.
Yes.
Is that an electrician?
Let's see if that was one of the most talked about things. Yes, it was the fifth most talked about thing this week. Just think, though, if Diana hadn't died, we wouldn't have that beautiful fountain in Kensington Gardens, and Paris wouldn't have that beautiful slow down sign. Right, now you've got one more to get. Fingers on buzzers.
Is it the celebrations of the Battle of Trafalgar? And they had a big flotilla, armada type thing in the Solent. The thing about it, I suppose, the thing that everyone noticed was that to not offend the French, they decided, rather than have it between the English and the French, they had the blue team and the red team. The idea was that so they don't offend the French. And I think it's a wasted opportunity to offend them. Wonderful opportunity to offend them. Because the French, they like being offended. All their facial muscles are designed to be offended.
When the battle finished, half of our boats came back with 50 cases of Stella, didn't they?
Well, I can tell you that the Battle of Trafalgar was not one of the most talked about things. It was actually the seventh most talked about thing this week. This week saw the reenactment of the Battle of Trafalgar to celebrate its 200-year anniversary. The reenactment wasn't a total success, and I'm sad to report the French have taken Plymouth.
Well, I reckon it could be Big Brother. What does anyone else think?
I don't know, I've
Well, back me up.
been a bit busy this week, smashing myself in the head with an iron. So I didn't get a chance to catch most of it. No, I'd lie, actually. I've been entrapped by it this week, because it's got very, very, very tetchy, hasn't it?
But they don't show enough. They show those two, that straight couple in bed rolling around under that duvet, but you don't get to see, you just see them like, you see lumps moving up and down.
No, there was more detail.
Oh, really?
There was an elbow going.
Oh, right. Is that what that was?
Yeah. I was watching very closely indeed.
It's like the porn you get in an Orkney's hotel, isn't it? Porn channel, just an elbow coming out of a duvet. £7.99 for this.
I don't understand why everyone seems to fancy Maxwell so much. He's got no top lip.
Yeah.
He's kind of...
Right, shall we have a look and see whether Big Brother was one of the most talked about things this week?
Yes, well done.
Yes, it was. It's all heating up in the Big Brother house. Saskia and Maxwell were both up for eviction this week. I'm not surprised. They behave like they're the new Posh and Becks. In fact, they're the new Stuart and Michelle. Remember them? They were the new Paul and Helen. Right, well, that's the end of that round. I can tell you that Dave's team have 2 points and Sean's have 3 points. The next round is called the Poll with a Hole. We've looked through hundreds of surveys, past and present, from around the world and unearthed some fascinating facts. Unfortunately, each statistic is missing one salient piece of information, so it's up to our panellists to fill in the gaps. This is from a Harris poll, August 1999. 13% of Americans are afraid of what?
Their own shadow. Because it'll be massive, won't it? Behind them. Jesus, what's... Oh, it's me.
Have you been to America?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you like it?
No.
But no, I think Americans are really afraid of...
If you can't say it, that's fine. Yeah. Is it making love to a woman, Scott?
Yeah. Is it?
You know, I have, you know, I've been with a woman.
Yeah, well, I've done loads of blokes. Oh, hang on.
All right.
I think what you're trying to say is that 13% of Americans are afraid of Bush.
Yeah.
I think you're afraid of going for a walk. Well, they drive everywhere. The only time you see an American out of his car is he's chasing a donut going down a hill. That's
You know, this is feeling very anti-American to me, this whole part of
Look,
this.
Scott,
I have
Scott.
something to say.
Scott,
Yeah.
think of it as friendly fire.
All right.
You were close with Bush, you were close with going for a walk.
Going for a walk with the president.
The answer is 30% of Americans are afraid of being alone in a forest. The other 87% are happily holed up in a log cabin with an M16 waiting for the federal government to fall. OK, only 7% of builders regularly what?
Pull the pants up.
Only 7% of builders regularly shout, "Oi, darling, I'd like to get to know you as a person."
To you.
Or say, stuff me, I finished a week early, I'll give you £2 back. It's not gonna happen. Is it fall off ladders? Because they're thick as shit, aren't they? No, there should be a sign at the top of the ladder that says stop. Because
It's kind of refreshment related.
Come back from lunch.
Turn up sober.
Only 7% of builders regularly take tea breaks.
Oh,
Most prefer to add all their tea breaks together and turn up 2 weeks late. This is from a Police Review magazine survey from May 2005. 80% of British police want a what?
Slap.
I don't know. Friend? But I don't know anybody who's got a friend who's a policeman.
I've got an undercover friend. A friend who's an undercover policeman.
Who is he?
Well, he
What's
was.
What's he called?
I can't say because
No, what's he called?
He's undercover.
No, but tell us his name.
Compton.
Compton. Mr. Compton. What's it? Whereabouts
No,
is
that's
he
his
under-
first name. He's really cool as well. I shouldn't talk too much about him because
He's
he's
called Compton?
Yeah, Compton.
Because he's now kicking the telly, going,
He's
he's
really
in a
cool
crack
as
den.
well.
He's in a crack den. They're watching this, and he's going, but then they go, you're Compton.
Sorry,
What are you doing? No! No, I actually got a picture of him here. There we go.
I've suddenly remembered. I've got a relation who's a copper, but he's a mounted copper in Canada.
You mean stuff?
Oh, yes.
I think I know him.
He's a mounted. Sorry, I just got that. Sorry.
OK, 80% of British police want a what?
They want a bigger truncheon.
It's sort of, you're along the
Is it a
right
gun?
lines. A gun?
A gun.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It's a stun gun.
Is it?
Yeah. OK, 62% of British men don't know their partner's what?
A man.
Maybe they don't know their partner's eye color. That's a hard one to remember.
I'm just trying to remember if my girlfriend's got eyes.
I'd imagine no. Pin number.
No, I'll give you a clue. Yeah, pin number, you're very close.
Partners.
Phone number. Mobile phone number.
Correct.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, 62% of British men don't know their partner's mobile telephone number. I don't need to know my girlfriend's mobile number. She rings me every 6 minutes. Yes, I still love you.
Blind bitch.
So, at the end of that round, it's 4 points to Dave's team and 5 points to Sean's team. It's time now for the League of Nations. This round is all about comparing us Brits to the rest of the world. I'll give each team a statistic relating to another country. All they have to do is guess if Britain came higher or lower in the same survey. Dave, it's your team to go first. Have a look at this.
You had a reputation for knocking out with a lot of girls.
Screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to put it delicately, yes.
Terry, I like screen, all right?
Oh. All right. So what do you do with your time these days?
Screw.
I see. Ladies and gentlemen, George Best.
That was, of course, the greatest living Irishman, Terry Wogan, interviewing George Best to illustrate the Irish. And my question is, the Irish spend 21 minutes on foreplay. Do Britain spend more or less time than that?
I just have a bit confused. When does foreplay start? When do you start the stopwatch? When officially does it start?
Well, I think starting the stopwatch often ruins the mood.
Yes.
Depends whether it includes my 15 minutes of begging. Really, pleading. No,
Does
it's a
that
difficult
include
one.
getting your credit card checked and everything? Because
That's what the Irish take 21 minutes because, well, you can't rush a Guinness, can you? And
They also love the crack.
it's got to be less, do you think?
I think it...
21 minutes?
Yeah,
That's a long time. That's 40 minutes a month.
So what do you think, Dave? What are you going to go for?
Less.
Well, in fact, the Brits not only spend more time than the Irish, but also more time than any other nation. We spend an incredible 23 minutes on foreplay. We're clearly too emotionally repressed to ask for sex, so we keep beating around the bush. What nation do you think spent the least amount of time?
Swiss?
The Swiss.
I bet they timed it beautifully, though, didn't they?
The Americans, one yank and they're off.
Well, in fact, the population of Thailand came bottom of the poll, spending just 11.5 minutes on foreplay. Me love you long time, indeed. Sean, here's your clip.
Security and prosperity of America are at stake. I actually did vote for the 87 billion. It is a choice.
Well, Sean, that was a clip of President Bush boring a child to tears in the crowd at the White House last year. My question is, 23% of American children dream of being their country's leader. Do you think a higher or lower percentage of UK kids dream of being the Prime Minister?
Well, I don't know. I'm assuming in America they don't have the same type of careers officers you have in this country. If you only see a careers officer in this country and you say something like, yeah, I'll be Prime Minister, they go, you know, there are new Tesco's up down the road there, yeah? I'm taking on all sorts. But the thing about, I don't think they really think this through, kids, because I mean, I wouldn't want to be Prime Minister, because he's got 4 houses. It's a nightmare, isn't it? Because you're at Chequers, going for a swim, and you're going, oh, left me goggles at number 10. I know it doesn't sound that bad when I say it out loud.
I think Sherry Blair has turned off a lot of kids about wanting to be Prime Minister.
I don't think you'd have to keep his wife.
Oh. I mean, if you're a Prime Minister, you'd think he'd find a hot wife. He can have any women he wants, and he gets stuck with a cartoon character face.
Yeah, the Prime Minister can get any woman he wants.
He can.
All the fine poontang of the Prime Minister.
You have to see him driving down the street going, hey, guess who I am? Get in the back.
I mean,
I'm the Prime Minister, ladies.
Yeah.
But back to the question. Do a higher or lower percentage of UK kids want to be the Prime Minister?
I'd say it's lower.
Well, you are right. Only 8% of kids dream of being Prime Minister. The percentage was much higher in America, primarily because of the American dream. Now, America, where any humble son of a billionaire can one day get his daddy's old job. So at the end of that round, it's 5 points to Dave's team and 6 points to Sean's team. And the winner is the name of our final round. I'm going to give the teams a series of opinion polls and surveys. It's up to them to buzz in and tell me who or what they think came top. Here's your first one. Best way to avoid talking to someone on a plane?
As soon as the flight starts, ask them if they have a personal relationship with Jesus.
Or what I always do is play an imaginary trombone. Or just put a blanket over your head and go.
Just look them in the eye and say, shut the fuck up.
If you start reading, they leave you alone, usually.
That's the right answer.
Yeah.
Yes, the best way to avoid talking to someone on a plane is reading. I think something light is normally best, maybe an Al-Qaeda pamphlet. This is from a survey featured in The Observer from December 2004. Kids' favourite thing in the world?
Is it an uncle with Tourette's?
I think it could be teachers with suggestive names, I think. I think it is, because when I was a kid in high school, our principal's name was Dildar Treadway. I got a lot of mileage out of that.
Crying in the pub. The kid in the pub the other day, crying. I went over and I said, have you smacked this child? And she said, no. And I said, why not?
kids' favourite thing in the world is fame. Andy Warhol, of course, said everyone would be famous for 15 minutes. Girls allowed have cheated by adding all their 15 minutes together. This one's from a survey by Orange from June 2003. A fictional character women would most like to meet.
Is it Big Dick Shagger? From When Good Nuns Go Bad.
You've never seen a porno, have you, Dave? That's world class.
Is it Dr. Alan Lovesoftly from the Mills and Boon novel Hospital of Love?
Oh, I've read that one.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Every
Yeah.
fireball from Alan's Rigid Cannon. It's that one, isn't it? Yeah. Exploded like molten lava inside Pamela's fluttering love purse.
I reckon Mr. Darcy.
You're right.
Thank you very much.
Boring. Well done, Lawrence.
Yes, the fictional character women would most like to meet is Mr. Darcy. We know him best from the TV series Pride and Prejudice, which has also been made into a book. Footballers' most common superstition.
Tie your shoelaces together. That's quite unlucky.
Yeah. Is it don't eat a whole chicken just before the game?
Oh, I know.
With all the trimmings.
Don't pee into a test tube just before the game.
Two in a bed, nothing said. Add one more, you're on page 4. I don't know. Superstition.
You're along the right lines with sex.
Don't have sex before the game.
Correct.
Oh, well done.
Yes, footballers' most common superstition is no sex before the big game. This is a long tradition thought to have been started by Peter Beardsley's wife. Well, that sound tells me that it's the end of the round and the end of this evening's competition. The final scores are as follows. Dave's team have 8 points. Sean's team have 8 points. It's a dead heat. Everyone's a winner. Thanks to all our panellists, our wonderful studio audience, and to all of you at home for watching. That's all from us. Good night.